The chronology of this Panther build went out of the window somewhere, but I'm doing my best to bring you up to speed. Some bits we skipped don't even have video files, or at least not any that I can find. And there's no particular reason for this shortfall. I mean, I wouldn't want you to think that dropping the grand sports off the bench had resulted in some kind of workshop meltdown. Fortunately, there are some photos, so I'll drop those in to help as we bolt the rest together. Here's the rear wheel with its lever and chain adjuster. No, really, I mean, you don't think I had a tantrum, do you? The Grand Sport's rear frame is a simple affair, with just a couple of studs to secure it to the front section. Worth pointing out that the lower one I'm fitting here with washers and thread lock will have to come out again because the inner mudguard is secured by the same stud. There. See how calmly I take this little back step? Where the studs are still good, I just replace washers and round-shouldered nuts. We're not expecting the Model 50 to win any Conkers championships. All I ask is that it functions reliably, looks reasonably smart, and stays in one piece. My budget for polish is capped, but that for threadlock is not. We covered the build of rear suspension units in an earlier video, and fitting them is a simple bolt-up job. A new sprocket, chain and guard follow. The sharp-eyed viewer will note that front forks have reverted to their no mudguard condition. I did warn you the chronology was all to cock. I trial the parrot beak rear enclosure to check that everything aligns, but we'll need the side panels on before this outer guard can be bolted up. There's also a little indoor job associated with that fair backside. I'm sorry, I'll read that again. That faired backside. This was P&M's grand gesture to modernity around 1960, the part which most frequently went to the scrap man, along with many Triumph bathtubs from that era. Stick-on registration numbers were common when the Panther Grand Sports was new, or a sign writer could paint them for you. I like that classier look, and my method doesn't even require a particularly steady hand. Printed in a suitable typeface and sellotaped to the plate, I cut around the letters and number outlines with a craft knife. This leaves an indentation in the paint, which serves not only as a visual guide but forms a surprisingly effective barrier to an artist's brush of matte white humbrol. Ignition coils bolt up now, while access is good. Cleaning paint off the bolt holes for sound earth contacts. Centre panel and horn attach with a single bolt at the top, and the battery and toolboxes follow. I have no plans to splash out on a new exhaust system until the Model 50 proves itself. Knocking out the baffle tubes removes a good bit of oily gunge and carbon. The baffles are rather beaten up. I may have to make some new ones. A fine rotary wire brush takes off surface rust, and polish and rag bring up the chrome remarkably well after decades of neglect. New clamps are required to secure pipe to silencer. Here's my method of making some. Shear and dress 2 strips of stainless steel plate. Pilot drill and bore the ends oversize for 1/4 inch bolts. Form these with a simple press tool. Clamp to an old fork stanchion, dress round it to suit the silencer stubs. Turn, drill and split 2 lengths of bar to take the clamping bolts. And finally snug it all up tight. The battery and toolbox panels are added, 2 studs onto the frame each side with nuts and bolts to that centre panel. There may be a few moth holes, but I think we've covered most of the process to this stage. In the next session we'll fit a side stand, design a new lifting handle for the saddle side and create a rack to replace the old handle. If the Panther Grand Sports lives up to expectations, I shall want to load it with camping gear and put it to work for next year's rallies.